lot of you said that you've already seen it before, but what is sensational about this particular performance? Yeah. And just names again, so I can start. Seppi. Okay.
I've seen this before, and I feel like every time I still get goosebumps. Like, it makes me feel good, kind of. Like, I know what's going to happen. I know it's kind of, they make it very dramatic, but I still feel into it, and I still get goosebumps, and I feel good about it. And
yeah.
It feel good, kind of.
Yeah, it's definitely, it is a feel-good mini film, really. You know, the beginning, middle, and end. I mean, there is a clear narrative arc in this story. I'm not talking about Susan Boyle's story, I'm talking about that clip we just saw. There is a clear narrative arc, right? A beginning, middle, and end. And they structured it that way, because obviously that's like, I make sure that I play the official one or whatever, or the so-called official one, because it shows that whole arc. There's longer clips, there's shorter ones, there's, you know, whatever, but that's the one that I like to show precisely because of that. Somebody else had their hand up? Reactions? Yeah?
I've also seen this before, and I just think the context of the song as well adds to the emotion. Like, Simon asks her,
what's your dream?
And then she's like, oh, I want to be like whatever singer.
Elaine Page.
Elaine Page.
Who at the time was the world's most famous and most popular opera singer.
Okay, opera singer.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I'm really sorry. And then he was like, okay, sure. And I tell everybody, they showed scenes of people stalking at her. And so I guess the context of the song added to the emotion because it's like uplifting.
Well, it's the song, I Dream the Dream. I mean, which in and of itself, what is that song really about ultimately in the end? Is it an uplifting song? That song is somewhat deceptive because the lyrics and the tonal qualities of it are sort of incommensurate with one another. Well, how does that song end?
Is it from Les Mis?
Les Mis, yeah.
Les Mis.
I just say Les Mis. Me and my French, as you all know already. How does it end? What are the last words?
The dream died.
The dream died. Yeah. The dream crushed this person, actually, you know, and the dream died. So, yeah, so it's actually not an uplifting song if you think about the lyrics. But, okay, so this is good. But, yeah, the music, you know, and then what happens, too, is after she's done singing, what do? They keep playing the song without the lyrics in the background. So that more uplifting tonal qualities of the song are playing behind the interview and the judges' evaluations. Other reactions? You guys?
Like the level of expertise that she's singing with, like this is her first time singing in front of anyone, and opera is one of the hardest like singing genres out there, so she just took one of the hardest levels of expertise, and her amateur level is extreme.
Yeah.
So it like really like exemplifies like this whole sensational idea.
Yeah, that it's sensational because the fact that she's supposedly an amateur singer has never performed publicly on stage before in her life, and she comes out and then she ends up sounding like a professional opera singer. Yeah?
I think it's also sensational, like, in the way that she's supposed to be, and is so obviously looked at by the audience and, like, the judges as, like, really not socially accomplished. Like, they say she says she's never been kissed, and she comes out and she's, like, maybe looks older than they expect her age to be, and then they're all like, oh, well, we just miss you, like, socially, you're not valuable, but then she comes out with something that's very valuable in a context, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, yeah, I mean, the show is Britain's Got Talent, so, you know, it's not just a singing program, but in this particular case, we have someone who's coming out to compete for singing. And, I mean, I think so. I think they do is this distracting? How does that? Okay. Thanks for not making me have to deal with that again right now. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that what is the show supposed to be valuing in terms of the fact that she's going there to perform a song? It's supposed to be valuing her voice and her ability, but what does it end up showing that they were valuing?
Her appearance.
Her appearance, her looks, right? how big her size, right? She's a little bit chubby. Although I didn't think so. I mean, I don't think so. Some people say she's chubby. I'm like, I think she looks fine, but that's just me. You know, but she's a real figure. She's not Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Aniston walking out there. Her age, which again we're going to discuss a little bit more when we get into the article on. Yeah, it's so distracting when you guys are doing other stuff and not paying attention. Like, I can't tell you what a distraction that is for me personally while I'm up here trying to do this. So, you know, she's being evaluated for things that have nothing to do with her voice. And in fact, the body size oftentimes has a lot to do with operatic singers. A lot to do with it. Because they're not usually tiny people. They're actually usually really big people. And because embodying that voice, there's something to it. I mean, there's no like genetic correlation or even social science experimentation on it or anything like that. I'm not trying to make some kind of, you know, crazy claim here. But the fact is that she's going up there to perform a song from a very famous opera, and she is being evaluated based on her looks, her appearance, her age, and also the fact that she's a little quirky, right? So also her personality is being judged. Yeah, did you want to add more to that?
Well, I mean, I think it's like that she's not ashamed of it, which is something that the judges in the audience would expect her to like be ashamed of. Like if she
or humble. She's supposed to be performing humility because of that.
Well, yeah, she doesn't show any deference to like considering the fact that she's never been kissed or that she's so forthcoming with it. And people are like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's like not acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Or even talking about the fact that she's never been kissed. Yeah.
Also, connecting to that, when she says she wants to be like Elaine Boggs, she doesn't see it as an outlandish claim or anything, but they see it as outlandish because it doesn't match her appearance in any way, and it doesn't really have to.
Yeah, when he asked, so who do you admire or whatever? I mean, she said, well, I'd like to be like Eileen Page. I mean, she's not like, oh no, what I would love. And so her whole personality, her whole physical appearance come under scrutiny, right? And become the foundation for this narrative. Because then, of course, we know the minute she opens her mouth and begins to sing, and she does sound like Eileen Page. And the funny thing about it is that in the time since, her and Eileen Page have performed together, which was like her, you know, her dream in many ways. So, you know, her dream didn't die. Remember Susan Boyle. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
I'm just wondering that because of her appearance, everyone had really low expectations, and she did sing like that. We were all in awe and had a sensational event. But what if she was like an Angelina Jolie face? If she sang like that, would we all still be in awe, or would we just like expect it?
Well, what does Amanda the judge say about that?
She said no one was on her side.
She said, we're all against you, and she said, when you came out here, everyone was against you. But what does she do in that moment? She turns and implicates the audience, right? Everyone, like looking back, implicating the audience, not necessarily the judges, but the audience. Everyone was against, I know everyone was against you. And she said, and then she says, I think we, and includes them then, the judges, were all being very cynical. And this was a big wake-up call, you know? Because it really was, and I think for like how many 100 million hits that this has gotten at this point, is exactly what that story is about. It's why it's supposed to be inspiring. Because who else is being implicated? When Amanda turns and looks over her shoulder, and when the two guys in the side, off the side of the stage, turn and look into the camera and point at who? Who are they pointing at? Us. Right? Now suddenly we are implicated because what have we been doing at home or in the, I'm talking the first time you saw it, obviously today many of you have already seen it the first time. What were we doing too? Possibly. Or even just wondering, right? We might have been laughing, we might have been silently judging, we might have been just wondering. Of course that moment is now that cultural moment of is over because we know the history of it. But I think that the story that this particular video clip tells is so incredibly rich in terms of look and looking and being looked at and body image and the power that body image has. and that just your image alone has in terms of determining who you can and cannot be in the world. You know, what does she say when asked, why haven't you pursued this before? She's 47, 48 years old. Why haven't you pursued this before? What does she say? Never really given the chance. Well, gee, anybody, you know, to become like wildly curious about why that might have happened for her? We know immediately because that part of the story has already been told to us in the beginning part of this video. You know, and then of course the narrative arc ends with obviously her being accepted with the three most, you know, I don't know how you have like the strongest yes you've ever. It's like yes or no is one of those few dichotomies in the world that really does exist. It's just like yes or no. It's a binary, and it's a real one. You know, that's why the word maybe is there in between. So yeah, I think that this is just a really great sort of precursor to what we're going to be exploring as we move forward in the class in general. And when we get back from the break, we will screen an episode of the television show Ugly Betty. How many of you have seen this TV show before? Ugly Betty. All right, so you know, we've got some people familiar with some things, some people not. We're going to screen an episode of Ugly Betty called Zero Worship. And I will try to, in the interim that we're having the break, I will make some notes and let you know who characters are, give you a little bit of background, because we're just kind of diving in the middle, in medias res. That's Latin. So I've already spoken 30 languages today, really trying to impress you guys. So we'll start kind of